Hello again, welcome back to the shop. Today going to be doing a little bit of work on the Galloway Hit and Miss engine. The first thing I have to do is face the front of the engine frame for the link to the crankshaft. It needs to be, where's it got to be here? 6 inches 312 thousandths from the front edge of the engine frame to the center line of the crankshaft. And after we do that, I've got to bore it for the cylinder. I'll bring it over to the mill and I'll show you the setup, and you'll see a little bit more what that is. Okay, I got this engine frame mounted up on an angle plate here. I indicated this top here to make sure that it was square. And what I need to do is this front edge here, it's got to be 6 inch 312 from the center line of this bore to the top. And I took a caliper. If you take away the half the diameter, which is 406, measure from the very top of the bore here to this front edge, it's going to be 5 inch 906 thousandths. So what my plan is to just put an end mill in and just mill this off, and then I'll just measure it with a caliper from the front leading edge of the bore here to this top to set the distance. I just touched off with the end mill here. All right. Now we're going to come up 50 thousandths. once I get this completely cleaned up, I'm going to take a measurement on it to find out exactly how much more I got to take off. Alright, let's see if we can get a measurement here on this. Right now we're at 6" 230. And we gotta bring it down to 5" 906. So we got about 300 thousandths we gotta take off. I'll raise the table up 100. Right there. Okay. closer. Okay, I measured this here again, and I've got 34 thousandths to go. So I'll raise my table up here. Reset my zero on my dial. $30, $31, $32, $33, $34 right there. Okay. Should be last pass right here. I will say this. There we go. Well, let's see how we did. Looks like 906 and a half. So I'd say that's good enough. Now what I think I'm going to do, as long as I have the end mill in here, is I'm going to trim this nub off a little bit here for the oiler. As long as I have the end mill in, I'm just going to trim that back just a little bit. And this part of this operation will be done. The next thing I got to do is set up the boring head to bore the hole. All right, I'm back. I got the boring head set up over the hole here. I centered up off of this edge here because the hole needs to be 2" 5/63 from the mounting face here over, and then I centered up off these two edges because this plate's machined and this engine frame is mounted square on it. This hole needs to come out to 2-inch 225. It's at 1-inch 160 right, 1-inch 560 right now. So I got to take about 3/8 of an inch of material out of here. And what I did is I set my depth stop. I touched the tool to the top of it here and raised the table up 1-inch 750 thousandths, and then I set my quill stop for the depth. Bring this tool out a little bit here. That looks about good right there. Make a real light pass through here to get it cleaned up, kind of. And we'll see what it looks like. I'm running it in back gear, about 230 RPM, and let's see here what my feed is. My feed is going to be a thousandths and a half per rev, so a pretty slow feed, but okay. Okay, there's the bore so far. A little tiny spot here where it hasn't quite cleaned up yet. I'm going to continue working at this and I'll be back. Okay, I'm getting really close. I'm going to get I've got a snap gauge here. I'm going to measure this once here. See what size this is. .245 it looks like. Pretty close. And it's got to come out to 2.275. Let me just run this through there again here and see. If I get the same measurement. Yeah, 2.245 and a half roughly. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the next two passes. I'm going to cut it in half. There's 55. Should be 265 right there. Now I'll take the rest, the final pass. Okay, I'm going to measure this again here. See how we did. With 264.5. So I'm going to loosen this up here. Seven, 8, 9. I'm going to take 9. 9 thousandths. Whoop, wrong way. This Bridgeport head here, by the way, when you start at 0 and you move it to, say, 10 thousandths, it is actually 10 thousandths, so it's indirect reading boring head. Not like most kind of boring heads where when you take 5 thousandths, it takes 10. Almost to the end. There you go, we're at the bottom of the hole. Okay, I'm going to measure this and see where we're at. that, we're 4th short. Put this in here and hit it again once. One thou under. I want to make a spring pass through there, and I'm going to check it again. Okay, I did a spring pass, remeasured it here, and I'm showing 2.274 and about a half. So I'm a half a thousandths under. And I'm going to call that good. So now this part can come out of the mill, and I will meet you back at the bench. Well, there it is. The bore is all finished here. A really nice finish on it. The front of this engine frame is all machined here. So for now, the machining part on this here, I think, is done. So for now, I think the machining part on this engine frame here is done. What I have to work on next is the water jacket for the cylinder that's going to mount up against here and make the cylinder, because the cylinder is going to get pressed into the water jacket, and then it gets mounted on the front here. I'm not really sure how I'm going to mount it yet, but for right now, the machining part on this is done. I got to get that done. I got to get the water jacket done, get the cylinder done, and probably after that we'll be making the crankshaft, doing the main bearings and making the crankshaft. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.